How much cap space do the Rams have after signing Kevin Dotson? Should they sign one of these big-name free agents? That's coming up next here on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramley, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're also available over on YouTube, so if you haven't yet, check out the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit that like button, trying to get to 12,000 subscribers. Also, drop all your Rams takes down below. Do you think they should sign Tyron Smith? Do you think they should sign Danielle Hunter? Let us know. My name is Doug McCain. Friends call me DMAC. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. I'm riding solo today. Mr. Travis Rogers, the People's Champ. He is out for the rest of the week, but we've got a jam-packed show for you. We've got the updated cap space number after the Rams signed Kevin Dotson. Also, two big free agents they should consider signing. We're going to talk about that. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. So the Rams have already made their first big move this offseason, signing guard Kevin Dotson to a 3-year, $48 million contract. The deal includes a $12.67 million cap hit in 2024. And now the next big question is, who else are they going to sign? Are they going after big-name free agents? Are they going to retain some of their top talent? Well, how much cap space do they have to work with? Well, the answer to that is even after the Dotson signing, you still have a ton of cash to go out there and make some significant signings. You have $29 million left to spend. You can use that money to retain talent, bring back guys like Coleman Shelton, Akella Witherspoon, Jordan Fuller, Alaric Jackson. They've already made a big decision on him. They've tendered him. The only question is they have to decide whether to use a second-round tender, which is at $4.89 million, or the original round tender at $3.116 million for one season. And so the way it works is that teams can go out there and sign restricted free agents to offer sheets, and the player's original team has the ability to match that. So what the Rams are saying is, you know what, we're going to let these other teams determine his value. Let's see how much he's worth. And if you look at the difference between the $4.89 million with the second round, the $3.116 million, the original round tender, you're not going to have the draft pick compensation if you lose him, and you're talking about $1.78 million in difference. So is it really worth paying in order to protect Alaric Jackson from leaving, right? That's just kind of the question that they have to ask. But I think for the Rams, they want him back as a depth piece, possibly as a starting left tackle. But look, they're saying that they don't want to let him walk as an unrestricted free agent. I think he's going to be back in the Horns, and if no one signed him to an offer sheet worth more than that tender offer, they'll keep him at whatever price. Either be the $4.89 million or the $3.116 million. Either way, I think he provides value, and he's a bargain considering last season he allowed one sack, right? Played in a ton of games. Played in 15 games last year for the Rams. He definitely was stable. I think as a run blocker, you didn't see the Rams really run to the left side as much. Of course, the other side, you got Dotson, Havenstein, but he is still someone that's not great. He's not elite. He's somewhere in between average and good-ish during certain stretches, but somebody you definitely want to have on your team is someone that's definitely made a nice career for himself as an undrafted free agent. So if you look where the Rams are at financially, $29 million, you could go out there and you could sign a Danielle Hunter. You could sign a Tyron Smith, a premier edge rusher, a left tackle who, when he's healthy, he's an all-pro. So that is something that's very enticing for a team that has Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and Matthew Stafford and Aaron Donald. I believe that when you look at Matthew Stafford's age, where he's at in his career, the success that he had last season, the fact that he proved the doubters wrong. He still has something left in the tank that they want to go out there, and I think they're going to make some significant signings that will indicate that they're once again pushing those chips in the middle of the table, that they want to win their second Super Bowl since returning to Los Angeles. And the Rams absolutely can do that. They have the talent in-house. They just need to address some needs. Now, it all starts with the quarterback spot, right? You have Matthew Stafford. Last season, he proved he still has something left in the tank. I think he has another Super Bowl run or two still left in him. You have a Super Bowl winning head coach in Sean McVay who's re-energized. He's reinvigorated. He's as hungry as ever, in my opinion. Then you have a Puka Nacua, who you discovered in the 5th round, that really emerged as one of the better receivers in the NFL. Not just a good rookie receiver, but he was one of the best receivers in the league last season. Cooper Kupp, I think he's going to have a good offseason. I think he's going to be healthy, and I hope that he's going to be able to have a nice bounce-back season and avoid injury. You have Aaron Donald, who's still one of the best at his positions in the sport. You discovered a Kobe Turner, a Byron Young, a Steve Avila. Some of these young draft picks that you hit on in year one, they're ready to roll in a Super Bowl run. So what you need to do now, though, is you need to address some pressing needs. I think you do that by spending big in free agency with some of these other positions, whether it be a left tackle or an edge rusher spot. I think that's where they need to focus. We're going to focus on 2 players, 2 big-ticket free agents the Rams could bring in that could really help take them over the top and put them in a great spot to be one of the top teams in the NFC. That's coming up next here on Locked On Rams. Okay, so now I want to talk about our friends over at Robinhood. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on a 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at Robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. And we are off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Also, a special shout out to the everyday listeners, the everyday viewers. We can't tell you how much we thank you and appreciate you watching every single episode, listening to every single episode. And if you're not an everyday listener, you can join the club. Membership is 100% free, and you won't miss a thing about your Los Angeles Rams. So here in our second segment, we're going to talk about what the Rams can do with their available cap space. And the first player we're going to focus on is free agent edge rusher Danielle Hunter. So Danielle Hunter, big dude, 6'5", gets after the quarterback. If you look at his contract projection, it's anywhere in the ballpark of, you can look at $65 million, next 3 seasons, $40 million guarantee. He would not come cheap, but he's someone that I think the Rams should seriously consider targeting because you got Brian Burns tagged. You got Josh Allen tagged. Now, if you want to see if you can put together a package to trade for those guys, great. But if they do not become available, Danielle Hunter is a premium edge rusher that has been in this league for 10 years. He's still around 30, has some prime years left, and those prime years align with what you have in Kupp and Donald and Matthew Stafford. And I think he is the edge rusher that you should focus on if no one else becomes available. Even if those guys are available, I still really like Danielle Hunter. I mean, the way he can attack from all kinds of different alignments. He's effective at just getting to the pass rusher and disrupting the quarterback. And he's got great burst. He's got great counter moves. He is someone that just gives blockers fits. And the Rams just didn't have that on their team last season. Yes, Byron Young, he did flash, and he definitely showed some promise. But Danielle Hunter, this is someone who's way further along in his career. This is someone who has size, he has strength, he has talent that's difficult to find at that position when you look at his size and his ability. So Danielle Hunter, you're looking at a contract, you're looking at something, like I said, $40 million fully guaranteed, $65 million. Yes, that is a pretty penny, but it's a premium position. And even if you're able to go out there and draft a top-level edge rusher, well, hey, that edge rusher is most likely not going to have a Danielle Hunter-like impact in year one. You typically don't see rookie edge rushers really just wreak havoc in their first year in the pros. And I don't think the Rams have time to wait. I think if you truly want to maximize this core and you want to pry open that championship window, you need win-now players to truly make this a turnkey roster. Certain positions you can allow for development and give them time, but that's what last year was about at certain positions. I think if you truly are serious about this season for the Rams, you go out there and you get a premium edge rusher, something that this team did not have. And Danielle Hunter is still extremely productive. He's still one of the best in the game. Last season had 16.5 sacks. 16.5 sacks and 80 pressures. So imagine plugging that kind of production with a year 2 Kobe Turner, with an Aaron Donald, freeing that up. You saw what Donald was able to do for guys like Floyd and Von Miller and some of these guys throughout the years. Danielle Hunter would absolutely eat with the horns. And then how about Tyron Smith? Tyron Smith, elite left tackle when healthy. If he's on the field, he's going to produce. Only issue is he's missed a significant amount of time. He has dealt with a slew of injuries throughout the years that have limited to a significant amount of missed action. He's missed 33 of 50 games from 2020 to 2022. He played 13 games in 2023. He was a second-team All-Pro, and that was his highest mark since 2015. So, hey, last season, 13 games. Maybe he figured something out. I mean, he's still just 33 years old. And when it comes to Tyron Smith, the thing you want to focus on, too, is the fact that you're not going to have to spend an incredible amount of money just because he has been banged up, because he has missed so much time. You're looking at projections. Some have him at a 1-year, $10 million contract. So would he want to come here for 1 year and do what Kevin Dotson did, right? Put himself in a position to get a big payday. Of course, Dotson is significantly younger, still just 27, but this is a great situation when you look at the veteran leadership along this line, when you look at this team's goals for next year. Tyron Smith, let's just be honest about this. When he's healthy, he's one of the very elite offensive linemen at his position. This guy is absolutely strong, great hands. Look at the way he just displaces defenders. He is explosive. They don't have anything like that on this team at that important position. So he's someone I would strongly consider. And one of the reasons why is look at Matthew Stafford. Look at Stafford a couple of seasons ago. Rams, they went 2-6 when he missed 8 games in 2022. No Stafford, no season. You have to protect him at all costs. Take every single measure when it comes to either drafting a left tackle, when it comes to signing a left tackle, when it comes to improving this offensive line. You have to set it up for a success, and you do that by bringing in a veteran that has achieved at the highest of levels at his position individually. I also think that when you look at how they could spread around their assets, if you do sign a Tyron Smith and a Danielle Hunter, well, then what could you do with that first-round pick? Then you could trade up and possibly get a playmaker in a Dunze, who they were rumored to be interested in. Then you could get that cornerback. Maybe you look to trade up to get a better version of a cornerback, a Terrion Arnold from Alabama. You could trade some picks. I mean, if the Rams could find a way to sign both Danielle Hunter and Tyron Smith, to me, that's the best possible scenario. I know some people think that he's damaged goods. I know some people think that he's too injury prone. And yes, I get it. Your best ability is your availability. There's no doubt about that. But what if you get 13 games plus the playoffs next season and you bring back Alaric Jackson? You have that depth, right? I go for the upside play and the value. Look, let's be honest here. If this guy had no health issues, he is a premium, highest pay level in the league status offensive lineman at that position. So I think that this could work in the Rams' favor in the fact that, yes, he's been banged up, but you put him in your organization where you're able to manage that and you hope that he has a healthy season. But look, the truth is every player can be lost on any given play. So you just can't really think like that. But I look at the Detroit game, the Lions game from last season. Look at those stacked boxes, right? You're not running to the left. Why are the most successful runs that the Rams have on the right side, right? Well, because you don't have a premier left tackle. Imagine what that would do for Kyren Williams and this run game. So I'm all about it. Look, it ain't my money, but also I do think that these are the right moves to make. I think you look at veterans at certain positions, and left tackle is certainly one, and edge rusher is certainly one. And I think both of these players would benefit from being in this system with this organization. So, look, you could also draft one, go to the next tier for a free agent left tackle and develop him, right? You don't need one of the top guys. So, yeah, he hasn't played a full season in 8 years. He's missed 34 games in the last 4 years. So I'm not saying this is signing Andrew Whitworth like some people are saying. That's not me. But if you can't see the upside, you got to look closely, because this is someone who could absolutely help this team win a Super Bowl in 2025. So I'm all about it. Go sign him and maybe get a free agent pass rusher, then the first round pick on the left tackle. Who knows what you could do. But coming up next, we're going to talk about the Rams and how they ended up being one of the most injury-free teams in 2024. That's coming up next here on Locked On Rams. All right, so I love to go to games, and I'll take a stab at it. I'm guessing you love to go to games too. And if you're listening to the Locked On Rams podcast, you probably attend a lot of sporting events. And we know you're a Rams fan, so you like going to the NFL games. Maybe you're a basketball fan, you want to go see the Lakers, the Clippers. Maybe you're a baseball fan, you want to see Ohtani and the Dodgers. Well, the Gametime app needs to be on your phone, because there's all sorts of stuff going on in your hometown. The NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball. There's always millions of things going on. Concerts, comedy shows, theaters, whatever it is, the Gametime app has you covered right up to the last minute, including even an hour before the game starts with killer deals, last-minute deals, all-in prices, and views from your seat, and of course, their best price guaranteed. Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. You don't have to stress about how you're going to do it. You've got it covered with the Gametime app. Take out the guesswork with the Gametime app. Create an account, download it on your phone, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDON for your first purchase. Terms apply. So here's how you do it. Again, create an account. You redeem the code LOCKED ON. That's LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download that Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And also a reminder that Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. And here in our final segment, we have some mind-blowing numbers from year to year when it comes to Rams injuries. And last season, in 2023, the Rams suffered the fewest significant injuries in the NFL after having the second most in 2022. So, of course, I don't know if you just kind of blacked it out from your memory. You kind of etch-a-sketched it, and hopefully you did, because the 2022 season, say for Baker Mayfield or Van Jefferson, so there were some moments sprinkled in there, but it was an unmitigated disaster on the injury front. The offensive line, they were decimated by injuries. It was like a season of Squid Game. You had guys going down again and again and again, but 2023 was in a totally different story. According to Aaron Schatz of FTN Fantasy, the Rams ranked first in the National Football League in adjusted games lost last season. They had the fourth fewest adjusted games lost on offense, 15.5, and the least amount on defense, 10.9. That gave them a total adjusted games lost of just 26.4 games. It's a complex stat, but to add some context, that was the lowest total of any team in the NFL. You compare that to 2022. That number, 26.4 adjusted games lost. In 2022, that number sat at 146.6. That was 31st in the league. So just look at what a difference a year makes. 26.4 games to 146.6. And you look at that season, you had all the injuries, Aaron Donald, Kupp, Stafford, everyone goes down, the offensive line. Last season, you did have some injuries, definitely some significant ones. Cooper Kupp, he started the season on the IR. You lost Kyron Williams for that stretch in the middle of the season where he was on the IR. Alaric Jackson, Rob Havenstein, Joe Noteboom, Tyler Higbee, they all missed multiple games. But who didn't miss a game when it mattered? it was Matthew Stafford. And the game he did miss, it was a disaster because you had Brett Rippon going against the Packers in one of the most unwatchable football games in NFL history, right? So it really speaks to how sometimes you just need some luck, how sometimes you need to just really pray that the football gods have your back and you don't lose guys and they're not dropping like flies. And really, for the most part, you've had a lot of successful seasons where the Rams have been able to remain healthy, but you just hope that that trend continues in 2024. And it's interesting to really say, okay, what was the difference? Okay, is there something they did internally that allowed them to avoid these major injuries? We'll find out, because I think you look at Sean McVay, you look at this organization, Les Snead, they're always looking to improve on the margins, and sometimes that's not just through signing players, drafting players. A lot of that is science and sports science and health and nutrition, and their trainers are some of the best in the NFL. So I'm sure that there was a concerted effort to put their players in the best position to avoid some of these minor injuries, but give them credit. Look, Cooper Kupp came back first couple games. He played really well, then got banged up a little bit, but then he really pulled it together. And Kyron Williams was the same. So all these players that missed time were able to come back and have success. The Havensteins, the Jacksons. Higbee, it's a freak knee injury on a semi-dirty-ish tackle there against the Lions. So sometimes football is going to football. It's a sport of gladiators. It's a dangerous sport to begin with. So sometimes you sustain those injuries, but that's very encouraging. Hopefully that trend repeats itself and you have a very healthy next season, and the Rams can definitely avoid what happened in 2022. But that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.